covers and
Does he not still?
I don't think he does as much. He still does his like
hoodie though. Is that t-shirt material that is a hoodie?
It's like just really thin. It's like a shirt.
I like it.
I like those because you can wear them under something. Yeah.
I like those too for the same reason.
He still does his art and stuff, but I don't think he does like cover albums really anymore. But I know he still does like his t-shirts and stuff.
Yes, I love it.
Right, well, bring it on. Bring the heat.
Well, hold on, real quick. I feel like I'll have to give it a little tiny bit of background, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Best friends. All right, so Sean maintains flexible. Okay, for those of you who are just now watching, by the way, welcome to the new year, 2022. This is the first show of the new year.
I can't believe it.
We are still afloat. The show is still afloat. I am not making any resolutions to do the show more often or be more regular on it because I did that last year, and you know what? I didn't stick to my resolution.
We did it less.
So we actually did it less, but we are not quitting this show. If anybody watches or listens, we are not quitting the show. We're not doing anything like that, but I definitely just want everyone to know that we are still at it. We're going to keep doing it. But it's just, it's not as serious. We're not going to be famous from this.
every time the holiday comes around, we don't do it every weekend.
That's true. Yes.
Even though that's when football spices up.
Well, but to you would maintain this football is spicy all time of the year. Great segue for me to pile down on you real quick. You say it spices up in the holiday, but you watch the goddamn preseason games and won't go anywhere during preseason games. You don't go anywhere during.
I don't know about that.
How many preseason games a week do you watch?
I try to watch as many as I can. As many that are on.
Go watch one of our shows from the preseason where you are already watching the preseason games
while we're watching the show.
Yeah. Listen to me. I love you. I just think if you freed up your schedule a little bit, you're gonna maximize just life. Okay, so for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, Sean does not miss football. He does not miss football games. He watches them, all of them. Any and all of the games all day on Sundays. He says he's flexible every day but one day of the week, and that's Sunday, except for he is also not flexible on Monday evenings because you also watch Monday Night Football. Also, though, you are not flexible on Thursdays because you will watch Thursday Night Football. Also, though, you are not flexible on Tuesdays because you have to make up for the Sunday and Monday by hanging out with your spouse, which you should do.
Mm-hmm.
She's a lovely woman, and you should hang out with your wife. But you hang out with her on Tuesday nights, which also unfrees up Tuesday nights to go around this crazy ass schedule. He wakes up at 5 in the morning to watch the England games for who gives a shit Jaguars.
Well, I had James Robinson in, man. I had to
for fantasy. Okay, this is what you missed this week, though.
Oh, and Atlanta, Cordell Patterson.
What you missed this week, while all those crappy bowl games are going on and still going on, the Avista Holiday Basketball High School Tournament was pretty lights out.
Where was it at?
It was,
like real life sports were happening.
It was only. Here's the thing. This is what you missed. It was only in Lewiston. It was at Lewis Clark State College and at LHS. So you missed a shit ton of really cool tournament games. Football.
There wasn't even a Thursday night game this week.
I know.
And there's no Saturday games, which is awesome.
I was kind of bummed, but
I finally don't miss a Saturday thing though, even though I got on to do it. Anyway, watch me. I'm glad you have fun. I'm glad. But
also the snow we got here was crazy. I barely got my Kia stuck, by the way.
Oh,
and then my little car my neighbor came over and helped me.
It's a smaller car than the Kia.
Yeah, I was gonna say your little car, your littler car.
My Kia Soul. Kia Souls are
They use
pretty.
the Kia Soul for the off-roading, and they use the little one to commute around.
Hey, technically, I don't want to get super tech on the show today or anything. I don't want to car and drive or anybody, but technically, the Kia Soul does fall into the SUV, the subcompact SUV category.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that
you can fit a lot of shit in that car, man.
I know you can. I know you can specifically.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I've seen it.
It's the functionality of a hatchback in the shape of a toaster.
Yep.
Yeah.
But anyways, we shoveled my entire driveway. The neighbor came over and helped, and we finally were able to get the spark out because we didn't have any food. Because we do HelloFresh. We do HelloFresh, but we canceled our HelloFresh this week because we thought we'd be busy with family stuff, and so we didn't have any food.
I will say I do like the Kias, by the way.
Oh yeah,
I am a fan. But no, let's circle back to the HelloFresh thing. Are they all good? Is everything they give you good, or is it just like sometimes you get something where you're like, wow, I like making this, it's dynamite.
Well,
and then the rest is shit. Or is it like you kind of pick them all out so you know it's good? Like you pick out your favorites.
Yeah, we don't do randoms.
Oh, okay.
We pick every week.
Doesn't
we do all the vegetarian meals.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys are kind of catering to what Bridget eats, right?
Yeah.
So
does she eat no meat at all?
She'll do the like plant-based protein.
That's great.
Yeah,
it's way better for you.
And Albertsons has that here, a little section of the plant-based protein.
Really, we do.
The ground beef. There's some like sausage, breakfast sausage.
How was the breakfast sausage? I wondered about that.
I haven't tried it yet. I want to, but Bridget doesn't even like sausage. Period. Regular. She just doesn't like the seasoning.
I've had it. It does taste really good, but it's because they season the shit out of it. It's almost comparable. Like I don't even know how, but it somehow still gets greasy. And I'm like, did they? Whatever they put in it makes your heart feel terrible. So good for them.
That sounds delicious.
It is still good.
I stayed the night at somebody's house and they made like vegan eggs Benedict.
Whoa,
and
that sounds
like, so obviously no eggs in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay tasting and kind of bland, but also it just wrecked my stomach. It was like I don't know what was it.
Well, it does that. There's like the gummy bears, like the sugar-free gummy bears.
Mm-hmm.
Will fuck you up, man.
Well, so to make anything decent tasting that doesn't have the greases and the goods and the meats, you gotta compensate with some sort of like fat, right? Like they usually use some sort of fat or oil or seasoning. Like they overdo the seasoning, and if you're putting that much spice in your gut,
it knows about the spice.
Bad things are gonna happen.
The spice melange.
Well, yeah, I've learned that anything can taste good, but once you pass the threshold of how tasty it is, it's probably no longer healthy for you.
That's true. I also noticed that with the vegan options, if you want a food to replace a food, you're not ever gonna get that. So don't try. So like if you go to Rosars to the the huckleberry section, the hippie section. And you're like, man, I really want a bratwurst. Don't go buy a vegan bratwurst thinking you're getting something that's substituting a bratwurst.
I mean, if you put enough mustard on anything, it's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be a bratwurst.
It will be. It will be fine. I'm just saying, don't think that you're gonna substitute you're substituting the food, but you're not substituting the flavor or the pleasure that you get by eating that.
No, just find a new food. Find a new thing.
Yeah. So, don't try to replace. Yeah. That's exactly. Yeah. You knew exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
Find a new thing. Don't try to replace the thing. I've noticed is like it does not work.
So boneless chicken, right? Boneless chicken.
Yes.
If you do the cauliflower and you deep fry it in some was it tempura that kind of you can do the like batter with?
Yeah.
It actually is very close to being a boneless chicken.
I feel like it's still good. I haven't.
It's the texture. I think it all comes down to the texture. Like, you know what I mean? Because if you're doing like a boneless buffalo wing, you're looking for the buffalo sauce anyways. You don't give a shit what the chicken tastes like.
I love me a good cauliflower buffalo wing.
Have you guys tried the cauliflower crust that you can get on pizza? Like at Mom Pizza, you can get the cauliflower crust. It's pretty good.
Well, we have a question here. What about the Impossible Burger? That's the one from Burger King, right?
Well, they were a brand that you could buy at the store before they were before they partnered with fast food.
I have not done Impossible Burger yet.
I've heard they're not very good for you. They're the ones who make. Oh yeah, I agree with Sean. It's absolutely not.
That's what I mean.
Same.
Like, if you're looking to replace the thing, by the way, welcome to our sports show. If you're looking to replace the thing with the vegan food, you're not ever going to be satisfied with that. Don't eat a Boca Burger thinking you're eating a hamburger.
I don't know, man.
It's still good. It's good, but is it replacing the thing? No. You just gotta change your mindset completely. Like,
it's still a burger, right?
Yeah.
It's just a different kind of burger.
He's heard that they're just as bad as beef, the Impossible Burgers.
I've heard that.
Everyone's showing up.
We'll hit you with it. We'll hit you with the sports at some point.
Wow.
Andrew.
Yeah,
anyway,
I haven't seen Andrew for a while.
I'll text him right now.
We've said a lot of positive things. No, I agree. Anything made in a lab can taste super legit. Way too legit, actually. But I just question if it's any. I've said it. I've questioned if any of this stuff is actually better for you. I just try to eat clean, whether I eat meat or whether I don't. I just try to eat clean. But all you're really doing is you're adding so much stuff to it till it tastes good enough, and then you don't eat the good food. You don't eat the oily, greasy, fun stuff, the buttery stuff for a while, and then you kind of forget how good it is. But then you have that stuff again, and you're like, "Fucking goddamn it, this is so good."
But then they add the reason why they're adding all that flavor though to the we're going to switch to sports. I swear to God. But the reason why they're adding all that spice to the fake burger though is because they are trying to replace the thing that we're eating instead of just making an additional thing. Like, here's this new Impossible Burger. Like, try it out. It's not too bad. It's not good. I'm sure it's not good.
It's really good. I've had the Impossible Burger.
It's good.
It's super good. I actually prefer the Carl's Jr.
Whatever Beyond Meat. They use the Beyond Meat.
Yeah.
I don't. Also, okay, real quick. Why the names? I don't like the names. Why are we calling it Impossible Burger and Beyond Meat? It sounds like human meat. It sounds like what you're telling me is that it's human meat.
Could be.
I hope so.
It's Beyond Meat.
I mean, if you've seen the movie The Ravenous, you get really strong from eating humans, and you can be a superhuman.
All right. Wendigo. That's what that movie.
I think the main reason I'm avoiding sports is because
there's nothing.
There's so much. What are we talking about?
Yesterday was just a garbage waste of time.
Okay. Let's go on. Do the college rant real fast for everybody.
I don't understand the argument to expand the playoffs when the playoffs shouldn't exist.
Right.
Like, let's make it even bigger. Let's make the playoffs bigger. One, there's never 4 good teams. Like, Cincinnati did not need to be there. No one needed to watch that game. It's more games to make money off of. But I think if you're even a fan of those teams, how do you make it to the end? How do you make it to the end of that game? We all know the outcome before it happens. Just go back in the day where you knew who the 2 best teams were most of the time. Sometimes you didn't. Sometimes you'd get a Nebraska who made it with 3 losses. But most of the time you knew the top 2 teams, and just go let them play each other again. Because I don't need to watch those games yesterday.
Well, and it's funny because I completely agree with you, but I would not have agreed with you 10 years ago. So back in the day, it's
a hindsight situation.
It is because I do remember those days. Everyone remember those days when it was like Ohio State and Florida, and the SEC would just fucking wipe the floor with whoever they're playing. Ohio State. Oh man, number 1 in the country. Ohio State. Go play Florida, and it's an SEC team, so they just wipe the floor with them. And then LSU did it, and all these SEC teams would just wipe the floor with whatever the number 1 team was at the time. You remember those days? It was like Ohio State 3 times in a row, and they lost.
Well, even before that, remember there was like Ohio State versus the U, Miami versus or Ohio State versus Nebraska, Miami versus whoever. Before the SEC was the SEC, because it wasn't always this way.
Yeah. But I think that's when the things started getting the loudest, though, was when like Urban Meyer in Florida went and just fucking trumped.
That was when it changed. It was not Alabama. We knew when it changed.
It was Florida. Yeah, it was Florida.
Yeah,
those days, and LSU,
Florida, LSU, then Alabama, then back to LSU, then back to Alabama, and
we gotta have a playoff. This is, by the way, we're from Idaho. We're from Idaho, so we heard the worst arguments ever made, which is like, man, Boise State's undefeated. How come they're not in the conversation? They're undefeated against Idaho in the WAC.
Yeah, they're undefeated because they played.
No, and Andrew's already asking for more games. Look at Andrew, 64-team playoff. Let the SEC. No, don't let any of that. Less games. I want less. It would have been more fun for me, if I'm a Michigan or Cincinnati fan, to give those two just a major bowl, right, against each other, where the winner doesn't go anywhere. They just play each other. And that's the end of their season. That would have been a competitive game.
Yeah, Cincinnati, Michigan, just do a separate bowl.
Yeah. I mean, not that I want to watch Georgia and Alabama play each other 3 times in a year either, but I bet people in the SEC do. People that care more about college football than I do care.
I'm learning that less is more.
See, and that's what Sean wanted as a Michigan fan. I agree. If I'm a Michigan fan and I have the best season they've had in who knows how long, and they're riding that high of beating Ohio State and being a Big Ten champion, if they're riding that wave, let them end on a high note. Don't let them end against Georgia, who is on a crash course with Alabama.
How much? I didn't even. By the way, I've not even looked at this. How much did Georgia beat?
It was a pummeling.
It was bad.
I remember seeing something. It was like 23-3, and like
I want to say, and I didn't watch the fourth quarters of either games, but I want to say that if you combine Cincinnati and Michigan together, there was 1 touchdown scored and probably a couple field goals.
Yeah,
because Cincinnati at best was kicking field goals.
Yeah.
So as a guy who doesn't care about college football at all,
and thank God, you would have no time.
If you cared about college football, you wouldn't have a free day of the week. Tuesdays.
But that's because it's just there's nothing at stake. There's no excitement. It's not.
I love in-conference Pac-12 play. I still love it. But once the Pac-12 championship's over, I'm done. I'm good for the year.
I guess, yeah. So like if you're watching a team play with similar skill set, then it's fun.
If you're a Big Ten fan, the Big Ten was excellent this year. There was a lot of parity in the Big Ten, in and out of conference. But I don't know. You're giving. I think other Sean Marsh said this to me yesterday, but he's like, you're giving a team with like 65 star recruits. That's an exaggeration. You're giving them a month to prepare for a game. What do you think they're going to do? Like, it's true. You're giving the greatest college football coach of all time with the most 5-star athletes of any school a month to prepare for Cincinnati. More than a month to prepare for Cincinnati. What do you think is going to happen?
But it's a game that shouldn't have happened. That's the whole point.
It shouldn't be there. They should be getting a month to play Georgia, who also, is going into a number 1 recruiting class next year. And so they're doing just fine. Give them also a month to prepare. And they've already gone against each other. Let's just make that happen. And then those of us who want to ignore it can ignore it.
Just turn it off.
I would never put it on. But I'd rather put that on once than watch the 2 games that we don't need to see leading up to it and then that. I'd just give me the 1 game so I can try to watch it.
Right.
Well,
but I'm not.
Or at least talk about it. It's like, give me the 1 game. I'll talk about it a little bit.
Right. I can talk myself into caring about that game, but I cannot talk myself into caring about Cincinnati versus Alabama. I don't know. I'm surprised Sean hasn't found a way to get into college football at this point.
I've tried.
What's so much more appealing about pro football to you? Is it fantasy?
Fantasy, obviously. I think that's. If it wasn't for fantasy, I would probably watch less football. But there's nothing more exciting than watching like the what?
Would you also say it helps that there's just one bowl?
There's one, and then the teams like I know there's shitty teams, but like sometimes those shitty teams have some like the Lions have won a couple games and they've been wild victories. But you know,
there's parity in the NFL, yes, and there's zero parity in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And then the other bowls mean less and less every year. Now even worse because of COVID. Because before COVID, players that were getting ready for the NFL might just sit out, right? They'd be like, "Oh, I'm just not even going to do it." And then now whole teams aren't doing it. Like, "Oh wait, our team's actually not coming." And even if they do come, I feel like half the time the better team doesn't win. These aren't like we'll see a 10-2 team play a 7-5 team from the regular season. The 7-5 team will blow them out. And do you care? Like, does anyone care?
No, none of those kids care.
Nope.
Maybe they do.
I mean, they care. They care when they're getting beat.
The schools care because there's money.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about for the college football, right? It's just money.
Well, same with the NFL, though.
Yeah, and I agree with Sean. I think what he's saying about recruiting, it's like it's going to be worse now, right? And we said this before the season started with being able to make money off of your likeness. USC will get big again because you're going to make a lot of money in LA. But like, you're just even if you're a backup quarterback, if you can be the backup quarterback for Alabama and make $1 million off your likeness, then you're just going to go to Alabama.
Yeah.
Although there's Ewers, I don't know if you guys know about this kid. He was the number one recruiting class supposedly for this next year. He was a Texas boy, committed to Texas before his junior year of high school. I was excited. He was like the number one. First time they've gotten the 1 overall quarterback since Vince Young. And then he decommitted, went to Ohio State because they said, we'll try to get you in as a senior in high school. So last year as a senior in high school, he's at Ohio State. He realized he's not taking that job. So he decommitted from Ohio State after going there a year early. And now he's back at Texas now that they're joining the SEC, right? So now he'll probably start for them right away. And it's not like, even though he's now a redshirt freshman in college, he's actually really only a real freshman in college. Like he's turning 18 years old.
Wow.
And even if he never plays at Texas, he probably made money off of that year he was at Ohio State doing nothing as a 17-year-old.
Well, and then there was also that kid that wanted to go. He committed to a school, and then what happened? Deion Sanders or somebody left, and he went and committed with the other school instead.
The guy who went to the Jackson State guy?
Yeah.
So the number 3 recruit in the class, number 1 corner, committed to Jackson State over any of the major schools because Deion was there?
Because Deion is there, yeah.
That's actually cooler than just doing it for money, right? Because there's got to be way less endorsements at Jackson State.
Yeah.
Although you're the only one bidding for them at that place. You're probably the coolest person in that entire town.
See,
you run into that situation.
These stories have been more interesting than actual college football.
Oh yeah, and I think that is the appeal of college football. Ooh, I just bumped my desk. That is the appeal of college football, though, right? And I think Zach and I have talked about this on the show. The real appeal of college football is really just seeing who's next.
Yeah, who's NXT?
Who's coming up? Who's gonna be the next number 1 draft pick? Who's gonna be on your team? What do they got going on? That's the excitement. I think where college football is harder than the NFL is that truthfully, and we talked about this before too, but it's hard to choose a team also. I did not go to an NCAA college. It's weird. It's always been really weird to me to choose some of the college teams that people choose. Like when I meet somebody from here who's a huge Duke fan, how does that even happen other than you just watching TV a bunch, I guess, in the 90s?
But how do you become a big fan of anything, I guess? Like,
yeah, I guess
I get it. It's like they had someone when you were coming up that interested you or you liked the uniforms or...
I love Christian Laettner.
Yeah, exactly. You like a good heel, and you're just a huge Laettner guy. And then you were a huge JJ Redick guy, and then you were a huge... what was the most recent one who I just fucking hate?
I do think that college, though, is harder to do that with, though. It's easier for a professional team to be like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I chose the Blazers as my team based on like what this show chose for me.
Right.
So it was easier to choose like a professional team. Whereas like with football, I'm like, I guess I like the Ducks because my friends like the Ducks and they're near-ish.
Yeah.
But if I went by proximity, that would leave me with the Vandals. That's a shame.
But that kind of goes to the whole argument of like avoiding the SEC or whatever. If you're just into in-conference play, and now that the Vandals are back in the Sun Belt, those are competitive games because they're playing teams on their level, and you can get into that. I think you can get into that. It's when those teams have to take a huge step up in competition and go play Florida or LSU that you're like, I don't even know. I don't need to watch this game.
Is this the final week of? No, it's not. This is not the final week of Pick'em as well. We still got another. Is that right?
But it is the final week for fantasy.
We have That's right. Okay. But
Sean says Charles Woodson beating WSU when I was a kid. Yeah, I see. There's always a moment or a thing, or mine was just like the rise of Michael Vick made me start paying attention to Virginia Tech for football, at least.
Okay.
You know,
I will admit that I enjoyed watching Boise when they were good, but it felt more natural to be like, okay, well, I'm in Idaho at least.
I also always hate. I like to hate on things that other people love. So, like, if everyone was a WSU guy, I liked watching Oregon beat them. My parents both went to West Virginia, so Virginia Tech was one of their rivals. Watching Virginia Tech beat them, so I like watching. I like being like if I was surrounded by other people who like the same things I would like it less. If I lived in San Antonio, yeah.
Before we jump into our pick'em, there is one more thing I wanted to add to this conversation, though, and that is the following and liking and I guess the adoration. I don't know, the devotion that fans have to watching high school sports when you no longer have any kids in it, or you do not go there, or you do not work at a school. That it is so weird to me. As you guys know, I am now a game manager for the high school that I work at.
Yep.
And I go to a lot of games, and most of them are parents who are, they yell at the refs, they yell at the kids, they're parents, like whatever. Use your hands. Bad call, ref, stuff like that.
But there's people with no kids that are there yelling.
There are people with no kids, and the community knows them. They're just like fans of a team, and they just still go. And they go and they yell at refs who are refereeing 15-year-olds.
Oh, that's Bob. He likes the jib jab. He's out there jib jabbing.
That's weird. And now in small towns, I can kind of understand a little bit because there's
what else is there? Only show in town.
There's nothing to do in Cottonwood, Idaho. So fuck it. Let's go to a prairie game.
There's
prairie.
There's stuff to do. It's get drunk. That's all they do.
In Lapway, everyone in that town goes to the basketball games, and
it's a huge basketball town.
Yeah, and reasonably so. It's a show too. They're reigning, defending state champions. They're a really good team. They're undefeated. It's a spectacle. Sean has seen it. Those are grown men out there. Those are high school kids. Those are grown men out there. It's a spectacle. But it is weird to me how many people go to those games. Maybe weird is not the right word. Maybe weird. It's just interesting when I see people yelling at the ref, and I'm like, oh, whose parent is that? And they're like, he has never had a child. He is just a huge fan of...
Not even an uncle of someone on the team.
Not even an uncle of anyone on the team.
Not even a second uncle.
He actually just moved here.
He's a huge fan of Lapaway High, so he moved here to be closer to his team.
Yeah.
He was randomly looking for teams on Max Preps and found Lapaway High School, which, by the way, Max Preps is the shit. I mean, I'm not downing any of this stuff. It's just also I work for a high school, so.
Hey, they win a lot, right? Like, if you want to be a fan of a team that doesn't lose a lot of games.
Hey, I'll admit it feels right. Pittsburgh sucks. The Blazers suck. The Mariners suck. You know what? You know who doesn't suck? Lapway High School. Fine. I'll take the one that I got. They even beat, but quick shout, I didn't say it, that Avista tournament, the boys did win that. They beat Lewiston at LCSE's gym. They beat them big by 18 points. Great game.
Big W.
Great time. They won that whole tournament. That's the first time they've won that tournament. And I'm sure.
I didn't even know it was a tournament. I didn't know it was a thing.
I went to every game other than the championship game, and I only didn't go because there was like a half a foot of snow, and I was like, I'm tired. I've went to every other game. Anyway, because I went to, it was the JV boys and girls, and then the varsity boys and girls. So it was a lot of games.
Oh, it's a long day.
But,
one day?
No, it was 3 days.
Okay.
But anyway, they went and beat LHS. By all accounts, that was like a home game for Lapway. Everyone was there. So that's the other thing, too, is the fans travel really well. It was packed. Got aunties, uncles, everybody.
Aunties, uncles, the guy who's not related to anybody.
The guy's not related to anybody who was there.
There's like 20 of those guys.
And they made it out.
There's more of those guys than what you think. It's weird.
Made it out with the snow going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not just Lapway though. That's literally every high school has those people.
Oh, I know. I remember going to. I mean, I went to Lewiston, and I remember a few years afterwards having a couple friends who'd be like, "Hey, we're gonna go to the football game on Friday. You want to go?" And I'd be like, "No, you see, I'm a 21-year-old man, and I don't go to Lewiston High School anymore. And I didn't even have any allegiance to Lewiston High School when I went there. So why would I just start
but
now?"
Okay, but you're lucky that you don't live in Texas, where they have $1 million stadiums that seat 20,000 people. Because do you think there's 20,000 parents in the crowd?
No, actually, no. That's a great point. Yeah, I didn't even think about it.
It's worse everywhere else.
There is TV shows based on the experience of going to a Friday night game and sitting under those Friday night lights in a Texas high school stadium with 15-year-olds. People were getting mad. You should hear some of the stuff people yell at the kids when they're playing, and I'm like, that's a freshman, they're 14.
Yeah.
Let's cool it. That's what I always say. If I have to, because as a game manager, I have to say something if somebody's being out of line. And I'll always just say, that's a freshman, they're 14. Let's cool it.
Maybe pump the brakes.
Yeah.
You pump the brakes a little bit. A kid is a kid. A child.
No, but it's worse all I'm saying is it's way worse other places.
You're right.
There's 50 men on that. There's 50 kids on that high school football team, and there's 20,000 bleacher spots.
I love it. But man, we have some great comments today, and
it's a big day, and I was saying this before, but it's the fantasy.
This is it.
Playoffs. It's the last week of fantasy playoffs. Unless you're in one of those dumb fucking leagues where the person who was the admin decided, hey, let's have the final game in week 18 when people are resting for the actual playoffs. Unless you have one of those managers. I'm in one of those leagues. Unless you're in one of those leagues, this should be the final week. It's also second last week of the regular season. We're also coming off of people are probably happy to watch games that matter tomorrow as opposed to the college football that was on yesterday.
Sean, are you still in it in every single league that you're in, or are any of those a bust?
I'm in the 4 out of 6. Okay, I made the playoffs 5 out of 6.
Okay.
So one I got out. I lost in one already. So 4 of them I am in the final round, the championship.
Let's do a little pulse check for everyone. Yeah, I was in 4 last week. I'm down to 1.
I'm looking at our league right now, and I am last. I am not in anything. I think I'm playing Zach this week though. Again.
Yeah, it's the dead last place bowl.
Yeah.
Are you guys fighting for dead last?
Looks like we made it.
So you guys are fighting for. Hold on. You guys are fighting for dead last, and I'm in the the championship.
Can we get Ward to just give us a little like montage for next week where? Oh, never mind. We already got it. But then instead, it's me and you. Instead, it's like me and you.
Yeah, man, we did not do good. We
No.
both did with 5 and 9. So basically, we're fighting for somebody. One of us gets to be 5 and 10.
I didn't even know I won that many games. You know what? I'm okay with it.
I am too. Whatever.
Well,
you know what? Also, one more little teeny shout out is to Randy, and not a mean shout out. I told him this on text, but I'm going to tell him it. He's been covering a ton of those games. By the way, he just started at LCSE this last year.
Yeah.
He's going for that sports media degree, which is very new. And he's covered a bunch of those games from that tournament for Moscow, for Lewiston, for all of these teams. He just jumped in absolutely head first, non-traditional student. He's going to go, he's like working his tail off to pad that resume to get it ready. And I'm proud of you, Randy. Good job, man. That's so cool.
Randy, I'm proud of you, but fuck you,
Also,
man.
Fuck you, Randy, also.
Yeah, you fucking suck, but
because you were in the playoff race and you fucking lost.
He did lose.
You speak the true.
Wait, so he did lose.
He lost to Jordan Anderson, I believe.
That's so great.
And then Jordan Anderson lost.
It's weird that I'm happy now. No, but you know what? I love what
you win. You're gonna get that trophy.
If I win, I don't even have to do anything with it. It's right here.
No, but good for him. Like I paid attention to his last couple episodes of his show, and I think it's cool how much he covers. I think it's cool that he brings on local people. He's doing a great job.
His show's probably better than our show.
It is. No, it is.
Yeah,
his show is doing. It's it's absolutely better than ours. His show is doing everything that Tate and all those people begged Zach and I to do, and we did not.
We're not going to do that. We're just not going to do it.
His show is doing everything that they begged us to do at the station, and we did not do it. But Randy, I'm glad you did it. And I don't even think Randy got asked to do the stuff that they're doing. He's just doing it because that's the direction the show should have taken, including ours.
It's because he's a smart guy, and there's if you're the person, like if you want to find a market, talk about things going on in that market. He has a market already. It's the one he's already in. We talk about national shit every week, along with the 2,000 other podcasts that do, and then all the TV shows you can watch. And we don't even do it well.
No, not at all. We talked about my flexibility in Beyond Burgers for like fucking 15 minutes.
I used to take this shit super seriously. I used to have notes every week. I had spreadsheets. I had whatever. Now I wouldn't even need those because I had
more fun today, though. I mean, I don't know. I love it.
Guys,
should we do pick 'em?
We can. I want to talk about fantasy more because I'm just so.
Talk about it during pick 'em.
Well, okay. So honestly, though,
you do need to win this, though, and vicariously, Zach and I do need you to win this, though. We do, just for the show's sake. You need to win this.
There was one.
No pressure.
There was one league where I should have lost, and I beat him. It was the guy that had the most fantasy points in our league.
Dude, I finished first in points in 3 leagues, and I'm eliminated from all of those already. It doesn't mean shit.
No, but it feels good when you're the guy that beats that person.
Oh, I'm sure all of those people went to town on themselves afterwards. I'm sure they lit some candles. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they bust out the good stuff and they just destroyed themselves.
Yeah, I do think that in my second league for school, I did end up at 7 and 8. I don't think I might be in the playoffs. Let me see. I don't think I am, but I at least ended up a little better than this one. And I had worse people.
Sometimes that's how it is.
I'm in the playoffs. I'm in the semi-play. I'm playing number 1 seed. I'm the worst seed in the playoffs, but I am in it.
The league that I'm still alive, I thought it was my worst team to make. Out of the 4 teams I had that made the playoffs, it was the worst. It was the only one I didn't have Jonathan Taylor. And I'm super concerned because I have a lot of NFC North left. So I have Amon-Ra St. Brown, I have Swift, I have Justin Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook. So I have 2 Vikings, 2 Lions. I'm terrified.
But Lions are just
I don't have to play Swift.
Well, the Lions are just fighting to win games, so that's fine because they're and then the Vikings have to win. So it's like you got players that aren't just going to be.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson's a must play. Dalvin's a must play. St. Brown's a must play. Yeah. Swift's the one guy I could probably take out of the equation and just so I don't have to stress. I can play like Antonio Brown or someone in that flex spot.
Yeah, let's jump into this. It's time. It's time because there's things I want to talk about going on, actual sports related things going on with a few of our teams. I kind of want to jump into this a little bit. Namely, the Monday night game is what I want to talk about a little bit.
We'll get
That's
there.
That's a big game.
Here, we're going to get there.
Let me switch my hat.
Oh, you got to get your
He's got to get his hat.
You always say it jokingly, but this has been a blast. Oh, here we go. We're Brownsing it up.
There we go.
You never know if he's going to grab the Browns or the Niners hat.
I thought Niners. But...
I thought Niners too.
Well,
it would make sense.
Monday night's Browns Steelers.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
So he's just being.
He's
just being a troll. Yeah.
You guys, I will shotgun a beer right now.
That has nothing to do with any of this.
There was no Thursday night game this week, which is hilarious because on Thursday morning I went and made sure that there was a pick, that I wouldn't miss the pick. No Thursday night game, which is whatever. It is what it is.
I like having the extra night to not watch football.
Okay, so this first game then is Sunday morning, and I'm taking the Bills at home, but I still think what I wanted to say about this game is, as a Falcons fan, Zach, I was wondering if you have been at least mildly okay with how the season has turned out for your team.
No. No, and the reason why is they lose to every quality team and they beat the bad ones. So all of their wins, Lions, Dolphins, Jaguars, Jets, Giants, these are their wins.
Okay.
And then anytime they've played anyone that even remotely sniffing the playoffs right now, they lose.
What if they won this game and went 8-8 for right
They
now?
Can't, because there's next game this year. So now they go either.
They would be 8-8 after this game.
This game. If they beat the Buffalo Bills, I would be impressed. They're not going to. I think Buffalo is great right now. Like, I had full confidence in them last week. I picked them against the Patriots. I think they're people were concerned that they're not as good as last year, or they're not the team we thought they were going to be, taking a huge jump this year. I think they went out the rest of the way. I think they go into the playoffs hot, and I think they're a team in the AFC that can win it. Falcons, I'm impressed with individual players, maybe like Cordero Patterson. I can see once we get some other weapons on the outside how good Kyle Pitts can be. Jones and Aluakon at linebacker. I like their lateral speed. I think they're really good at shutting the run down anytime someone's not going right up the middle. And I like our young safety, our rookie safety from Florida, whatever Florida school is in Orlando. I like that guy too.
Same here, Andrew. Now it is.
But yeah, I mean, there's things to take away, but I don't like a 500 team, man. Do bad and get a good draft pick, or do well and make the playoffs. Don't be the last team to not make it in. That doesn't win you anything.
That's
fair. That is fair.
I watched Sunday Football with Jesse, and his friend Matt was there, and he's a Houston fan, and they destroyed that game, and he was pissed because he's like, I want them to get a better draft pick.
Yeah, why win? I mean,
and they didn't just win; they fucking just molested that.
Mills has been great, man. Davis, from Stanford, he's good.
Yeah, I just thought the Chargers were just as good.
Yeah, I heard the comparison for rookies. I heard the comparison between him and Mac Jones last week, and I see it. You swap them, you swap teams, Texans and Patriots. You see similar results. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and they got him in the third round.
So we all took Buffalo in this game.
I took Buffalo. I do have one question. Do you think Cordell Patterson is still worth playing in fantasy?
100%. I just saw a stat last week. Maybe it was NFL Network. Maybe it was Good Morning Football. Maybe that's exactly what it was. And I don't need to say maybe. But Cordarrelle Patterson, there's a significance here. He is the highest owned running back for playoff teams going into the playoffs. Not anymore. He fucked a bunch of people week 1 of the playoffs, but going into the playoffs, I think he was rostered in over 60% of teams that made the playoffs for fantasy football. He's a huge relevance because you probably didn't even draft him. You probably got him as a free agent or an extremely late draft pick, and he became your RB2 by the end of the year.
Yeah, he was off the wire.
I don't know if he's still an RB2. He's a flex for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of hot options going into this week, depending on who you have. But no, I think you absolutely have to keep playing him.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I thought. But
they find a way to get him the ball, and they're still in this situation where when it comes to scoring a touchdown, who else are they going to go to? So he's their top option in the red zone.
I'm a tinker freak, so I sit here and think about it all week. So
next game is Giants and the Bears. I'm going to call the toilet bowl early this week.
Yeah, this is it. Absolutely.
I'm picking the
Bears, but I guess I kind of hope the Giants win. Just to punch down on the Bears more. But I do think the Bears are going to win.
I'm starting the Bears defense in fantasy.
Oh, I think absolutely, man, because it's still Glennon. It's still Glennon. There's no chance in hell Saquon. I actually took Saquon out. I don't care what the projections say. Even if he's like a flex 2, I don't play Saquon Barkley this week. I think I played Mike Williams over him in a league. No, I don't think there's any chance in hell. I called it last week. I was talking to everyone on the chat, and I said, guys, in the Seahawks, was it the Seahawks game?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's absolutely the Bears. It has to be. And I just had a bad feeling about the Nick Foles Bears, especially in the snow.
Big Dick Foles.
But if they play him 2 weeks in a row, he finds a way to screw it up week 2. I don't think it is him anyways, but I'm picking the Bears not knowing who their quarterback is. That's how confident I am that the Giants suck.
Same here. Boy, this did not turn out well for the Bears. Man, I almost feel like they should have just kept Trubisky.
No, Fields is going to be good, man. I think he's going to be good.
No, he's going to be good, but for this year,
right?
Man, they got rid of Trubisky and brought in Dalton, and Dalton had a couple signs of life.
Maybe they just think that Dalton is better for Fields, like for his progress, right?
I think Nick Foles is better than Dalton.
I think Nick Foles is currently the best quarterback in this rotation, but that's just currently.
But Nick Foles is not who they want. I think on Zach's point, that's not who they want to be coaching up Justin Fields, because Nick Foles is going to be like, hey, man, stick with me, kid. I'm going to teach you how to be the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah. And the thing about Trubisky is as long as he's around and they invested a first-round pick in him, then there's always that doubt of who's the guy. Yeah, that's true. And with Dalton and Foles surrounding Justin Fields, we know who the guy is. We know who's NXT. Yeah. So, that's what it boils down to is with these young quarterbacks, they try not to hurt their confidence. It's all about their ego and their confidence, and you don't want to have Aaron Rodgers.
These guys are grown. These guys are grown men. We need to really give a shit about their feelings.
Well, some of them aren't. That's the problem. Some of them are 21, and
what were we doing when we were 21? Huh?
Shit, we shouldn't be. And we weren't making big boy decisions and thinking about our futures, or you wouldn't be drinking a Mickey's Saturday morning.
I genuinely like these, and I didn't open it till we started. I stayed sober till we started.
Good for you, man. I'm proud of you. All right, so are we all taking the Bears then?
Yes. Sean?
Oh yeah, I said the Bears a while ago.
Chiefs Bengals. So first off, no one was surprised by the Chiefs beating the Steelers. I still took the Steelers in the game just because I'm not going against them. I think the biggest surprise for the Chiefs though has just been how the season has turned out. Mahomes has not been very good this season.
No.
In a lot of games, and I know that for a goddamn fact because he was my starting quarterback the entire season.
Mm-hmm. It's like you have to play him. You have to play him, but it wasn't.
Play him.
But it wasn't good.
The 1 week I went and not played him, I
He
played
went off.
Cam Newton and he lost so bad, and Mahomes was fine. So I've switched back to Mahomes. Now, I think, is anybody kind of surprised? Now, I want to phrase this the right way. At the beginning of the season, you wouldn't be surprised to learn that Kansas City is 11-4. I think that'd be a gimme, right? Or at least better.
But
Is anyone kind of surprised with how the season went? And now that they're at 11-4 going into the playoffs?
yeah,
That's kind of surprising.
yeah. Because if you would have asked us 7 weeks ago, what do we think they're going to do? And it was, I don't know, because
they've met expectations from the beginning of the season that you would expect them to be in the position. That
Just looking at the numbers.
Yeah, just looking at the numbers, they've met the expectations of what they should have been.
Mhm.
But halfway through the season, I don't think that we were having this conversation. I think a lot of us were even wondering whether or not they were going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think eventually everything kind of falls in line in the NFL no matter what. I think Sean Elliott uses it for basketball all the time, especially when teams are up like 26 points in a game. He goes, everyone regresses to the mean, right? So like if you're looking at like a standard deviation, they're not gonna be on that far end for a super long time. So if you're the Raiders or the Broncos or the Chargers or all these teams who started off better than them, I guess the easier analogy is cream always rises to the top. But
Boom!
Kansas City actually turns out has a good defense. That's the surprising part. And we can say Pat Mahomes, bad year, Pat Mahomes, garbage, whatever. 4,300 yards already, 33 touchdowns. Sorry he has 13 picks. That's a lot for him.
It's a lot for him.
In this particular matchup, though, it's still less than Joe Burrow has.
Yeah.
Who I thought's had a pretty good year as well. It's just we have these, I think for the rest of his career, because of how much he's paid and how much success he had early, we're going to have these incredibly high expectations for him.
The Bengals, though, are they not absolutely a contender, though? I do think they are. I think they're absolutely a contender.
The Bengals. Did Joe Burrow last week? He set a Bengal record, obviously.
Yeah, he threw for over 500 yards, yeah.
Yeah, and 4 touchdowns?
Yeah.
And was that almost just like a quarterback record, or was that close to being a quarterback record even? Like a breaking record for just...
It was top 10 all time, but...
Yeah, it was insane. Because I was sitting there with Jesse. Jesse's playing Adam Olinger in fantasy to make the championship.
It was a Madden style.
and Jesse you could see Jesse just getting sadder and sadder every time Joe Burrow had the ball.
Yeah, I had him on my bench, so I just don't really want to fucking talk about it.
That's fair.
I had him on my bench in 3 leagues.
You're resting
Somebody asked me a question last night. If everything works out, will the Patriots have to play Cincinnati in the playoffs?
We don't know yet. It's so fucked right now.
He asked me this question. He's like, well, what if Cincinnati and the Patriots meet up? Who do you think's going to win? And I go,
Cincinnati.
I think the Bengals would win, because if all 3 of those receivers are healthy, what are you going to do?
Listen, as soon as everyone started jumping on the Patriots jock, as soon as people started jumping on the Patriots jock, Mac Jones started looking like a rookie quarterback. The last few weeks, they've been losing, and if they do win, it's in spite of him. He's having a little bit of growing pains.
I took the Patriots last week, thinking they could get it done, and I was wrong. And by the way, I'm delighted to know I was wrong.
Yeah. I didn't think they could, because the weather wasn't good. I think
exactly. The first game was an anomaly game, right?
Yeah.
Like the weather can't happen twice. Mm-hmm. There's not going to be a game where teams just can't pass the ball at all again.
Yeah.
And I picked the Bills in both the games because I know that the Bills are a better team regardless.
Damian Harris broke away for that touchdown, and that's what happened.
Right.
That's why they lost, because the rest of the game, you couldn't do much. I watched the whole game, and
so this game that we're talking about right now, though, the Chiefs and the Bengals, this is not a gimme for the Chiefs.
No, but they are a -4 on the road, which leads me to believe that if this was a home game, they'd be 6 to 7 point favorite.
Yeah.
So I am taking the Chiefs on the road, but I am not surprised if the Bengals actually pull one out on this.
Yeah, game. I think the only person who's out this week for the Chiefs is Clyde, and everyone else is healthy. Unlike last week, where they still got to win with a team that is missing people. So
Williams is a good backup.
they're just plug and play. I mean, I'm taking the Chiefs, but yeah, the Bengals are one of those teams where every week they could surprise you. They're getting to that point, but it's a surprise. It's not I'm not locking it in.
No.
Yeah, I'm going Kansas City.
And it might be the one season that it happens. So you just never know with that division. That could absolutely be the Ravens or Steelers again next year. I mean, it just could be. This could be the season that they could get it done and need to get it done.
Yeah, but if you told me at the beginning of the year, it was going to be like Chiefs Rams, where you go, yeah, that absolutely makes 100% sense. Yeah. And now it's like slowly getting to there. It's just like we'll forget all of this ebbs and flows and Pat Mahomes throwing more picks than we thought type of shit by the end of the year.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's the Bills and anybody else, but if the Niners don't make it,
everyone knows this at this point. It's Colts or nothing.
I'm actually on board with the Colts
also.
As well.
I'm on board with it. I could if you if you showed me a list of all the playoff contenders, I could write you a list of all the teams that I would be okay with seeing in the Super Bowl. And the Bills, the Colts are two of the teams that I'm okay with in there. Maybe
and they're clinched, right? They're in, right?
Yeah.
It's Colts could lose the next two and be fucked.
Okay.
Yeah, Colts could lose the next two. They're not going to win the division because I mean the Titans are just better than expected. Next game.
Yeah. Okay. Next game.
We're in Kansas.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So Titans again. I'm taking the Titans in this game, but this is not a gimme. I absolutely do not think this is a gimme. I think the Dolphins could very well win this game. By the way, this is working out. Like I think like Brian Flores is not going to be out of a job. Like
no,
I think the Dolphins are absolutely working out. Maybe I think they've exceeded expectations for the season.
I think for how many they lost to start the year, they're exceeding expectations in the second half of the year. But once again, kind of back to the Kansas City point, by the end of the year, if they finish above 500, they're exactly where we thought they would be from the last year.
Yeah.
They're just a gritty team. They're great defense. Tua was doing okay.
He was.
Yeah.
He's still doing okay. He's doing. The offense is funny because it's so one-dimensional, but it's somehow working. It's like Waddle and a little bit of Gesicki, mostly Waddle though, mostly this rookie who they just find ways to get him the ball, and sometimes it works out. It's interesting. I don't know.
I think Tua has solidified his position as the quarterback, though. I think he'll get another season at least.
They'll let him finish out the rookie contract, and I'm glad because how do you really know what you have if you don't give it a shot? And it's not a good QB class, right? We're not going into a good one.
He's not Josh Rosen. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, unfortunately, Josh Rosen was never given a real shot, though.
No.
But I think it was obvious that he just wasn't.
No one was going to try to develop him either way. But yeah, I mean, we don't know what the coaches see. Maybe he got to training camp and they were like, fuck, we messed up.
I think Kingsbury, though, knew from the very beginning in Arizona, though, that he was not going to keep Rosen, though.
Right. He was never going to even give him a shot to develop him.
No. I think Kingsbury wanted Kyler Murray immediately. I think I remember them talking about that. Like he wanted Kyler Murray immediately.
Yeah, it's almost like he chose a team that had a high enough draft pick to get him.
Right, yeah. And they did. They got him. By the way, that's another contender. By the way, this is a weird year, right? There's actually a lot of contenders.
Yeah. Yeah,
if you told me anyone in that division, Rams, Cardinals, or Niners went to the Super Bowl, if you told me that right now, I'd believe you on any of them.
Let's get through this and let's pull up the in the hunt list before we get off.
Yeah. Okay, so where are we going on this one then? I'm going Titans on this one.
As soon as I found out the Titans could still run the ball, big fan. And now that AJ Brown's back, yeah, I mean,
he's questionable this week though.
I think if he played last week, he'll play this week. If he doesn't play this week and they have no AJ Brown, they have no AJ Brown and they have no Julio, and Foreman's your best offensive weapon, then maybe come Sunday I switch to the Dolphins in this game, because I don't think there's not that big of a separation between the two.
I like it. I like your
it's
style.
not a gimme. It's not
The only reason I took the Niners 2 weeks ago, or last Thursday, to beat the Titans, is because I thought AJ Brown was playing, and I got stuck on an 8.5 hour drive up north, so I couldn't have changed it anyways. But
I honestly think I think the Niners are the better team than the Titans.
I do too.
I just think without Derrick Henry, I even think they have. Deebo Samuel and AJ Brown are comparable, right?
I think that's one of those games where it was so close that if it happens in San Francisco, they win. If it happens in Tennessee, they win, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
I think it's that much of a coin flip between the two. I would even argue that the Niners are the NFC equivalent of the Tennessee Titans this year.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Actually, even on quarterback play, right?
Right.
Really, just even Jimmy G and Tannehill are
similar
play styles.
They will fuck you. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the only difference is what the Niners do with 2 or 3 running backs. The Titans usually do with just one big guy. So,
big dude. And Derrick Henry should be able to. He will play in playoffs, right? Like he will.
That's what they're looking at, but who knows? They got to get there first. They can't lose these next 2 games because the Colts are coming.
They're coming.
Speaking of,
and they have a easier matchup, if you ask me.
So let's talk about this. Okay, so the Colts. Now, would you guys say? By the way, this is a nice end of the year, beginning of the year. But I actually, believe it or not, prepared some of these questions.
Awesome.
Have the Colts met your expectations for the season or exceeded? I, at the beginning of the season, was not skeptical towards Carson Wentz.
You weren't.
I thought he would be good on this team, and he's exceeded my met my expectations on this team. I was never down on him in Philly, and I thought when they picked him up, I said at the beginning of the year, I thought it was a good call.
Yeah, but I think when they were 0-4, you were pretty down on them.
I will admit.
Yeah,
but Carson was out some of those games, right? Or did he play with that foot? Did he come right back in?
He came right back.
I think when I was down on him, I was mad at myself for one thing, for being like, God damn it, why would I believe in Carson Wentz?
Right. Right.
But then, he still, even in the games they lost, though, he still wasn't horrible. And my thinking was they were this good with Uncle Phil last year.
Right.
If you give them Carson Wentz, what could this team do with a Carson Wentz?
You know what? Actually, it's all revisionist history at this point for me, because yes, I just have a soft spot for Carson. So when I thought he was not winning games for them, I still had his back. But now that I've gone back and rewatched Hard Knocks and seen how much confidence Frank Reich has in him and always has, his unwavering confidence, I think now looking back, it makes me feel like I have that much confidence in Carson Wentz too.
And also, by the way, I was actually just thinking about this morning, but when I was coming up with these questions, though, which basically are going to be, have they met your expectations or exceeded or failed? With this team, though, I think next year, this is the team. I think they're going to have Carson Wentz again. They're going to build around him. They're going to do more things they're going to give him more options, more weapons. And because I have also been watching Hard Knocks, to piggyback on that, Frank Reich is also super invested in Carson Wentz. I think the next season, the Colts are even better team next year.
I think they're another receiver away, because in my opinion, Pittman's more of a number 2. Pittman's more of a number 2 for me. It's the same situation like in Atlanta. Who besides for Cordarrelle Patterson is giving Pitts a chance to be a good receiving tight end? Nobody. So when Calvin was there, is a different story. I think it's the same deal. You got to get a downfield like Burner. You get someone like that in Indy. Everything that T.Y. Hilton was when he was young, you get another one of those guys.
They should have picked up Odell Beckham.
That would have been a great move. I just really like Odell where he's at now, but
Me too.
I think he's a perfect fit.
he
absolutely
makes more
perfect
sense
fit.
on the Rams, but originally I wanted him on the.
I think he makes equal sense either. I think he makes more sense for his personality in the Rams.
That's
But
right.
as far as winning football games, I think it's a wash. I think he does good either way. But yeah, exactly. Personality wise, he's an LA guy. No, I think it's revisionist history. So yes, they've met my expectations now that they're doing well. But
Right.
you asked that question 6 weeks ago, and you're like, man, I thought these guys were going to lose 2 or 3 games the whole year because they did what they did with Uncle Phil.
I thought so too. With Uncle, I was like, man, surely with Uncle Phil, this team's gonna have 3 losses for the whole season. That's what
Actually, if anyone exceeded my expectations, the Raiders are above 500 still with everything they've been through, with Hunter Renfrow being their best receiver, with Waller being out for like 6 weeks now. Like, I thought he was going to finally play this week. He's out again.
He's out the rest of the year.
Yeah, he's out again.
They put him on IR, so he's out.
And now Derek Carr has put together this portfolio for himself where he will go to a better team. It might be the Raiders next year
if they get rid of him.
They might get rid of him just to reset the culture, which is too bad because he is. Yeah.
This is Sean Lewis. This is actually a really good point, and I actually do.
Well,
agree with that.
we all agree. They should not. Renfro should not be their top option at all. And I think literally they just stay healthy. They're a playoff team.
I'm glad he is though because he's fun to watch. Renfro gets the ball. It's exciting.
I know, but like someone like Ruggs is someone anyone can use. That's exactly the type of person that the Colts could use right now, right?
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you too on the Colts. Do you think they try to draft another wide receiver? Like, what do you think?
100%. If you have the offensive line and the defensive line that they do, if you have the young linebackers that they do, what else do you need? Go finally get Carson another playmaker. And not only that, but what does that do for Jonathan Taylor? The Raiders just the world took a dump on their chest this year, and they still found a way to be 8-7.
Yeah, good for them. Which is another reason why I'm also kind of, I guess, surprised. Now, I don't know if surprised is the right word, but for how well the Chiefs turned out. Because the Chiefs were actually in a tough division this year. The Chargers are good.
Yeah, but they're still noticeably better than those teams.
Yeah,
Denver looked hot for a second.
Denver's got a great defense. When we did the beginning of the year show, when no games were played, we said this is a good defense, like a really good defense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's an interesting team moving forward. It's an interesting division moving forward. It depends what the Raiders want to do from this point on. Do they want to?
You saw.
Huh?
Okay, good.
You saw what you saw.
Okay.
I see your face. I see your face. I know what you saw.
What'd you see?
Anyways,
yeah.
I saw your face. I saw as soon as I took a little sip of that. I saw your face, and I knew exactly what you're.
That would literally kill me. I would die.
I was excited. It was Fireball.
Colts might have shortened expectations a bit, but still pretty good. Raiders exceeded expectations.
And I want to see what they do moving forward. I like Carr. I would keep him. I would definitely try. But they got to get more consistency around him. Once you're going to have a coach for more than a couple of years, an offensive coordinator for more than a couple of years, once you're going to have consistent weapons he can get familiar with.
The answer is never. He's too old.
I want him. I want Derek Carr. Get rid of him, Raiders.
I mean, he would look great with that. Any younger quarterback is going to look great with the Steelers defense backing them up next year.
Right. And plenty of weapons.
Anyway, so the next game is Jaguars Patriots.
Patriots.
Patriots, the Jaguars are so bad. By the way, we have not done a show since this, but I'm glad we get to say it and just have the utmost confidence. But fuck Urban Meyer. We've been saying that since the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I don't like his face either, though.
I don't like anything about him.
So here's my question that I came up with. Here's my question. Did Urban Meyer's tenure as the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach, did that exceed expectations, meet expectations?
He met expectations.
Met expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the dude hired. So he always surrounded himself with turds.
Yeah.
And he's a turd. And he did everything that we thought he would do.
I don't get why the Cons were so obsessed with him. I think the Cons make good business decisions, except for that they own the Jaguars.
So financially, they're doing okay.
Yeah.
I think the trigger they pulled for Urban Meyer was that they are in Jacksonville, and they thought they could have a big Florida hero come in and be the coach of that team. I do think that's what they thought. They're thinking, we're in Jacksonville. We're gonna bring in this Florida legend who led Tim Tebow to fucking whatever he did.
And Chris Lee.
Aaron Hernandez. Who else is on?
Oh yeah, that's what they want to remember. They want to remember. They want to remember Aaron Hernandez.
Aaron Hernandez. There was a bunch of people on that team, wasn't there?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that team was stacked. But
stacked, yeah. I think that's what they were thinking though. They're like, we're gonna bring in Urban Meyer. We're gonna get Trevor Lawrence, who's like the hottest thing to come out of college, right? We're gonna get Urban Meyer. He's bringing in Tim Tebow as a tight end.
I gotta confess something. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is that attractive either, though.
Well, no, I meant hottest. Like
my bad.
Like shampoo, you know.
My bad.
Not.
Like I thought we were talking about how attractive a quarterback can be.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard when you're measuring just to Jimmy G or Derek Carr's eyeliner. Like, it's hard to.
Yeah. I don't think Lawrence has any makeup on, so that's a huge diff between him and some of the other guys.
Carr wearing guyliner? I want to know. I do actually legitimately want to know. Is he?
He's always got a little bit of foundation on.
He's got something going on for sure, and that's fine.
He's wearing makeup, though, I'm pretty sure.
If we were gonna rank like top 5 good-looking QBs, who would you go with? I'd go Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Jimmy G twice.
Jimmy G. Who else? Cam Newton's a good-looking dude.
Cam Newton, Justin Fields is in there.
Justin Fields is good-looking.
Guys, I didn't have any notes on this. I didn't prep.
I don't want to say Tom Brady because he looks like Kevin Bacon, and that doesn't do it for me.
Tom Brady does not look like Kevin Bacon. That's bullshit. # never Kevin Bacon.
That's bullshit.
All right, so we're gonna come up with. Oh, Cam was on that team too. Yeah, that is also true.
That is true.
Weird.
Anyways,
we'll get the top 5 hot soon.
Yeah, the top 5 hot list. By the way, for next week, I am working on my fantasy awards of the year. So it's not just top player, Jonathan Taylor. It's not just top player. It's biggest surprise. You know, you could think of people like St. Brown. You could think about people like Cordero Patterson. You could think about people that might have just saved your ass and they were consistent about it. Biggest disappointments. We're gonna have a biggest shit the bed player of the year.
I have that on my roster. No. Zach has. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is obviously the fucking answer to that.
Yeah, I had him.
The guy that if you drafted in the first round, you for sure didn't do anything this year.
Bullshit. I'm in the championship.
I've actually recovered from those players before too.
Yep.
But not this time. Anyways. Let's save it for next week. Let's save that for next week. Well, this game is a 16.5 point spread for the Patriots. That is a college football type of spread. There's no reason to cover this. Yeah, Jesus Christ, Jacksonville. That's embarrassing.
I might as well start Kendrick Bourne.
This is much like the last game, by the way.
You can start Kendrick Bourne, but you either have to call your team name the Bourne Supremacy or A Star Was Born. And if you don't call it one of those two, then don't even play him.
I'm going to come up with another one. Hold on. That's a good name. I'll come up with something.
I'm still maintaining that they are aiming, the powers that be, the Illuminati, whatever it is aiming for a Patriots-Buccaneers Super Bowl. So it's fitting that these two teams are playing way bad teams right now. For this week.
NFL's rigged.
The NFL, if those two teams play, I know 100% it's because the narrative they want to tell. But we did determine that CBS, it's not Collinsworth though, right? It's not.
No,
we do
not.
Romo
this year.
Yes. We get Big Dick Romo swinging that fucking beautiful announcing dick.
If you would have told me.
His voice is a big announcing dick to you.
If you would have
Dude, I love it.
5 years ago that Tony Romo was going to be my favorite thing
About football.
about my favorite color commentator in football, I'd have been like, how? And now,
How come? Is what you would have said.
With CUM.
How come?
How come? And
How
like,
come?
how come he is? But now he is, though. He absolutely is my favorite commentator. Also, if you would have told me 5 years ago that I love watching Eli and Peyton Manning try to do a stream,
It's so fun
during games, I would enjoy it. If they would do a sports program level of stream,
Yeah,
and I would watch it and enjoy it, I would have laughed in your face.
I would have poured a beer in your head.
And now I'm on board. I love it. I love the Manning cast. It's like my favorite thing, honestly.
I know. I just wish it was every week.
Yeah,
They just do it when they want, which is even funnier. It is the sports program because they just do it when they're in the mood.
They do. And I wish they would do it. I wish they would do it according to Sean's football schedule and just do every game.
I agree. What
Just-
the fuck?
But then I would miss all of it. If they did it, Sean's schedule, I just wouldn't watch it.
I'm going to work a deal out with the NFL, and I'm just going to do it myself.
You just live stream all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just skip this game? Everyone pick the Bucks.
Bucks.
Yeah.
This is interesting game right here.
I actually feel like this has potential to be a fun to watch game. I'm not going to say game of the week, but I actually do think that this is like a version of a toilet bowl where I'm like, I'm okay watching.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take Washington at home though.
I took Philly. I think they're just finding ways to win football games. They're another one of those really tough football teams. Hurts is definitely on my fantasy surprises going on next week. Like he's on the list of consideration. Not necessarily as like a real life quarterback, but as like a fantasy guy, I think he's awesome. And he fits the way that they're winning football games right now. They just run the ball over and over and over again.
He is also not unlikable.
No, he's likable.
He's very likable.
Yeah.
I think you guys should put him on your beefcake list for next week.
I was thinking that just now, actually.
He's a good looking guy.
He's got that hoop earring.
He does. And I liked him in college too. I liked his story in college too. I think it's a very dynamic story. He was in Alabama and then
had to go to Oklahoma to finish his career out. Yeah.
And he wasn't. And then he went to Oklahoma, and because he went to Oklahoma, he drafted real high. I think he wouldn't have drafted as high if he would have.
He wouldn't have been a first rounder. Actually, well, no, because if he stays in Alabama and stays a backup, he doesn't get drafted at all. So that might have been the one team he could have went to that would at least gotten him to a first rounder. Somewhere else might have gotten him drafted, but not in the first round.
How many times? This is going to be a real big bummer for Oklahoma and Oklahoma fans and Oklahoma players. But without Kingsbury, right? No, who was
the guy who left?
Who's the guy that just left?
Oh God,
whatever his name is. He's the other Cliff Kingsbury. He's like the same.
He's
guy.
like the same Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley.
Okay. They actually don't look similar, but it's just their like aura in the way that they call plays and like that spread offense.
There's those young coaches too, that like the trend of young coaches. Well, anyway, I was wondering, is Oklahoma gonna no longer be the team that saves the career of quarterbacks? Because Baker Mayfield went number 1. Then Hurts is in there. Drafts high.
Kyler Murray was in between the two.
Kyler Murray in between the two. Drafts high. Is anybody going to go to Oklahoma now as like a big option to be like, not in the SEC, right? Like
they freak me out going to the SEC. I think that was a terrible, terrible choice for them. And Lincoln Riley saw the writing on the wall. Yeah. I took the Eagles in this game, though. I think it's very similar to the performance from 2 weeks ago.
I love Tony Romo also.
Yes.
It's because Sean Lewis is because you're a reasonable human being. And Tony Romo is good.
Yeah, and people that like Chris Collinsworth are not reasonable human beings.
Those people are fucking psychopaths.
I'm switching to the Eagles, by the way.
Yeah. One of them is my aunt, and then also another friend.
My friends that are Bengals fans like him, but that makes sense. It's the only people that could. It's like you'd have to be his parents to love him.
I mean, I love Steve Young for what he did, but I don't want to listen to that man talk.
I love Steve Young. I think he doesn't give a fuck about anything.
He's fine. I just love Tony Romo. I actually like Greg Olsen as well, by the way. I do think Greg Olsen does a pretty good job. Yeah, poor Al Michaels, though, right?
Yeah, poor Al Michaels. He's laughing all the way to the bank. He's fine.
Yeah, I think he's doing okay.
But I prefer to hear
him. Best in the biz, though.
He does not care who's alongside of him. He can carry whatever pile of shit is in the chair next to him.
All right, guys. Well, I still like him.
He's like a siren.
I still like him. I picked the Eagles.
I switched to the Eagles. You guys swung me.
I wanted once I saw you had Washington picked, I wanted to switch instantly because I love Taylor.
I wanted to take Washington, but I feel like the Eagles could do it.
Heineke,
also,
baby.
I want somebody to contend with the Cowboys, man. I don't like the Cowboys. I don't want them to be good.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get to that. What about this next game, though, huh? Game of the week?
Potentially game of the week.
No,
I do not think it's going.
No, there's a Cowboys-Cardinals game coming up.
Yeah, you're right.
I do not think this will be game of the week because I do not think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be good in this game. I think the Rams are going to win, and I think they're going to win real good.
I think they're going to do whatever they want.
I'm starting Sony Michel.
Sony Michel's been great, though. What a pleasant surprise there, at least. That's like the one thing that I would say for. Actually, there's tons.
You can do whatever you want.
I was just waiting for that to come, and I was like really drawing it out.
It took me a second. We're rusty. Listen. Look.
Listen.
I think the Ravens. By the way, that's one of my questions for the week. Have the Ravens exceeded or met expectations?
Below average. Below.
That's below. Yeah. They should have. The Ravens have the pieces that they should have won the division. Clearly won the division. No ifs, ands, or buts. Especially, by the way, Huntley's been great. I love that their backup quarterback can play on this team too.
But he hasn't won any of them.
He didn't play. He didn't play last week. Josh Johnson did, and Josh Johnson even actually looked okay as well.
Yeah, it's a system offense, and we're learning that now. But there's only one person who can win in that system.
I still wish they had RG3.
I like him more as a commentator. He's great.
I mean, I do too, and
what does he commentate for?
Fox College Football.
Oh, that's why.
And he's great.
He is really good. Actually, it's
or
funny.
is he on ESPN? He's on ESPN College Football. I think.
ESPN, I think. Yeah, but he's among the list of my favorite college commentators, college football commentators who should have been really great in the NFL, but did not end up being very good.
Reggie Bush, Brady Quinn, Matt Leinart, everyone that's on the Fox crew.
I love them all, and they're all very good. I mean,
they're all very good because they were able to get into commentating so early because their pro careers were so average.
So bad.
Except for Reggie. People can say what they want about Reggie's pro career, but he made it a decade still.
Yeah. He played for San Francisco in like 2000 and
he got around, man.
That's where he
has
slipped
a Super Bowl ring, doesn't he? Yeah. Does he not?
For the Saints?
Yeah. He give that man his Heisman back. Anyway,
didn't he sue the Rams Stadium for slipping on the
I don't know, but he should have. I actually think that, so for the Ravens, I think they underexceeded because I think they lose the next two games and finish below 500. I think they lose to the Rams and lose to the Steelers to end the year. And then now we're talking about a below 500 team who, you're right, they probably should have won the division because the Browns were overhyped. But I think the Steelers won it last year, so I think they could have been in the argument. Although, if the Bengals lose out, who knows who wins this division?
Yeah, because they're all.
So who knows? Anyone's still in it. I took the Rams, though. I think the Rams are the much better team.
Same.
Yeah, the Rams are the better team. Also, by the way, recall the Rams are my Super Bowl pick. I did pick them. I picked Rams and Bills. I went by just my heart. I wanted to see Rams and Bills.
I like that pick now.
I still do. So the Rams were my other question. With Matt Stafford. And the changes they made, getting Von Miller, getting OBJ, has the Rams
exceeded.
Yeah, same.
Because for me, I didn't know anything about like would Stafford work until I saw it. I didn't want to like have any reservation there. I didn't want to say for sure it's going to work. The Lions were just that bad, but I also didn't want to say the opposite. I want to say like I actually think that he's as good as he's looked for the Lions. So
I also wasn't sure how the Seahawks would be this year. I didn't know they would be as bad as they were. I mean, I thought, if anybody has the Rams number, it's always the Seahawks.
And the Niners.
Or the Niners.
And the Niners.
So the Rams, while I did call them to be a Super Bowl, my Super Bowl pick, which I still maintain, I still think they've exceeded my expectations. But Matt Stafford, though, has not exceeded my expectations. I thought he would be exactly where he needs to be. But I don't know that this team is any different with Jared Goff. I think they probably are still 11-4 with Jared Goff.
I think there's a couple of games that Stafford helped him win, like the Tampa Bay game.
Yeah.
So they'd still be 9 to 10 wins, but I think to be exactly where they're at right now is exactly because of the people they have on the roster.
Here's the funny thing is I think Jared Goff still starts Detroit next year. I think Campbell builds around Jared Goff. I think he likes him a lot.
I think there's just too much money in his contract not to. And all the rookie quarterbacks are going to take a year or two. So, yeah, he'll be there.
Yeah. Are we all taking the Rams in this one then?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a super chalk week. I was kind of bummed about the options on games because I'm trying to come back and win the pick'em, and there's not any divisive games except for maybe one.
Yeah.
I can't believe
but
the
who
Ravens
knows, man?
only 8-7 in this. I'm surprised. I thought the Ravens were going to win our division for
I
sure.
think Ravens are probably the most beat up team out of all teams.
Yeah.
100% agree, and they've been that way since week one. The fact that they've even been able to do what they do is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, they even brought in Le'Veon Bell, and I was like, man, like what a shot across the bow, I know Le'Veon Bell's a little washed now, but I thought when he was leaving the Chiefs, I was like, first off, pick him back up. Let's go Najee Harris and Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
But I mean, his career just hasn't. That's a shame. He didn't exactly.
It's his own fault though.
Isn't it fun to go hindsight 2020 though, and the entire time that was happening, go, man, Pittsburgh got to get Bell again, got to pick him up, and have everything planned out the way, Bell betted on himself, and it did not turn out. Actually, the Steelers made the absolute right decision on him.
No, sadly, betting on yourself fails as much as it works out.
Well, I mean, I even think Melvin Gordon kind of proved that. I mean, he's had a little better success than Le'Veon, but he almost did the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Broncos and Chargers. I think this actually could be a game of the week. This actually might be a good game.
I think it's a hard push from the Chargers. Actually, I think the Chargers go in there. I mean, it's in LA. I think Denver has had a great year as far as exceeding expectations go, but I think this is the week where they just look like a bad team.
Yeah.
And the Chargers absolutely need this game and next week, and even then they still need a little luck. But I think they're going to do everything they can to get to 10-7.
Is Teddy Bridgewater dead, or is he fine, or what? Do we know?
I
never saw anything after that. I saw him getting carried out.
Yeah, that's all I saw.
Could be dead.
He's out. He's out.
But did he have a concussion, or was it
human, or is he crippled, or what? Like we never heard.
He's out for a concussion.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
I felt bad for the dude, man. Teddy Bridgewater is just not. He's not been dealt a good hand.
No, he's what most of us would call a class act too.
Yeah. He's a real RG3.
I've been rooting for Teddy Bridgewater since he came in, much like I rooted for RG3. And it just did not work out.
Anybody who comes in with a certain amount of accolades and then spends the first few years of their career really banged up, I'm going to end up rooting for. I don't care if I didn't like you in college, whatever.
Yeah, because you just want to root for somebody to succeed.
It's like the end of Steve Nash's career. It just didn't end the way that any of us wanted it to, and it made all of us really like him because he just kept trying to fight through it.
Right, which is why I think a lot of people who hate all of the components of Brooklyn still wants them to like.
Well, now you're just talking about yourself.
Well, yeah. No, there's a lot of people though. I'm on Reddit and I see it. A lot of people are rooting for Brooklyn because of Steve Nash. I have seen this.
Well, I'm not saying you're not there's more Derek's out there than just you. There's other people that share your opinion. But then there's also people like me that go like, yeah, I don't really care who the coach is of this team. It's just the makeup of the team, right? You know,
I want Steve Nash to get that goddamn ring.
Somehow, yeah.
Somehow. If this is it. Although, by the way, I don't know if you've watched any of those games, but if you see Steve Nash sitting on the sidelines there, he looks like he'd suit up today and play.
I always think he's going to, especially like right now. They really in a lot of games they only have Patty Mills playing point guard, and I'm like, man, who's gonna come in if Patty goes down? So,
it's not like baseball. You know, in baseball, the managers always wear the jersey, which I've always thought was the funniest thing ever. Like the manager of the team dresses the same as the player,
even though he's a 72-year-old man.
Even though he's a 70, yeah. He got Cubs Grandpa Joe out there, and he's wearing the same jersey. And
it would be much funnier. It'd be much funnier if it was a football or a basketball coach, though.
It would be even funnier because I would love to see Bill Belichick out there with pads on, which would be great.
Talk about the fucking hottest people list. Let's go,
guys. We got to cover some games quick. We still got a lot left.
We're good. We're getting there.
We're getting there. We can just say
49ers. We're taking the 49ers.
We'll say Niners. I think they did not meet expectation this year.
No.
We can move on.
They did not meet mine. I thought they would be at this time. I thought they would be 11-4. I
thought it was a coin flip between. I actually didn't see the Cardinals coming, so I thought it'd be a coin flip between them and
the Rams. Yeah, that's where I was at too.
So yeah, a little bit below expectation, especially with the fact that we've said every year, well, if Jimmy G was just healthy, if their starting quarterback was just healthy, maybe they'd win more games. We said it the 2 years that Jimmy was hurt the whole time, and then he's healthy again. So I think people expected a Super Bowl type of year.
Before we move on from this game, though, is Jimmy G the quarterback next year for the Niners, or is Trey Lance?
Trey Lance will be starting this weekend, I think, though.
Because Jimmy's hurt?
Yeah, Jimmy hurt his hand last game.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. But if Jimmy's healthy, then it's Jimmy again next year. I don't think Trey's ready.
To watch, though, with Trey Lance in there starting.
So, yeah, Davis Mills can run train on Trey Lance right now.
Well, but here's the thing, though. This year, for the Niners, it wasn't Jimmy G. It was the pieces around him this time.
Right. I agree. I've really liked Jimmy this year.
Yeah.
Especially at end of half situations.
The Niners just can't. They
can't do it, Captain.
They can't. Yeah, perfect.
They don't have the power. All right.
Okay.
Was that Shrek or was that Star Trek?
I don't know.
You're picking the Cowboys.
I am taking.
Let's start there.
But when I made these picks on Thursday, because I thought I was going to miss all of the games again.
You were drunk.
I thought that I might still have a chance. I didn't see how far down I had dropped. I don't have any chance of coming back and winning now, so I just chose who I thought was gonna win, because it's in Dallas. That said, I'm gonna keep Dallas to see where I end out on the pick'em. I'm gonna be rooting so hard for the Cardinals, though. I actually do. I legitimately want them to win this game. I'd love for the Eagles to win, the Cowboys to lose. It doesn't matter because the records they're pretty offset. But I do think that this is the game of the week, though. This is going to be a good game.
I actually was surprised that it was a -6 for the Cowboys for the spread. I think it's going to be really close as well. Maybe it's just because the Cardinals have kind of been, I guess I would describe it as a slump, right? Yeah, lost to the Colts, lost to the Lions, lost to the Rams the last 3 weeks. So actually, I get it, and it seems like the Cowboys are just doing whatever they want, regardless. I have the Cardinals.
Kyler Murray back, by the way.
I have the Cardinals with a bounce back game, though. Actually,
yeah,
nice.
It's something about the 11-4 Cowboys that just doesn't feel right. 11-5 feels more, I don't know why, but it just fits both teams better for me. So I just went strictly off of that. It was almost like a they're due type of game. I get those every year where I'm like, they're due. Cardinals are due for a win.
Yeah.
Fair.
But they have not, like, especially with Hopkins out now, that's a huge concern. Like, they definitely look like a different offense.
I saw somewhere that they were going to pick up. They didn't do it. Larry Fitzgerald was going to come back, but that ended up not happening, huh?
It's all Kirk and AJ Brown or AJ Green.
Larry Fitzgerald said he'd do it. He said he'd come out.
I bet he's in great shape.
AJ Green looks good. By the way.
AJ looks good. I love Kirk.
I bet you Larry Fitzgerald is still in playing form and could do it today. I bet you he could.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And he wouldn't drop a fucking pass.
I bet he wouldn't. I bet he'd be just as good, if not better.
Yeah, but this is the one upset I took this week as far as like a big spread goes. Is this one I took the Cardinals?
I also picked the Cardinals.
I hope people try. I would love to be wrong on this. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
we're probably both wrong. I needed a game. I needed a game that could get me back into the pick'em, and this is it.
I love it. Panthers Saints. I took the Saints, and this is a contest of the who gives a shit awards. I do not care who wins this game. I do not care who loses this game. I wish both teams could lose.
This is a pretty garbage bowl right here.
Yeah. But I did have questions though. Meets expectations, sets expectations. Carolina Panthers have not even been close to meeting my expectations because I had hoped that Sam Darnold would do better for this team.
I 100% before the year started thought 5-12 for this team. So they're gonna get there. They're gonna lose this game. They're gonna lose next week. They're gonna be 5-12. I thought Sam Darnold sucks. Never will be good, no matter what team you put him on. Along with all the other quarterbacks they have on their team, by the way, like Cam Newton's the same deal. Yeah, they're bad. New Orleans is bad too, but they have they're going to at least have Taysom Hill back. I think they're going to be able to run the football. Kamara and Taysom are both going to have a day if you're a fantasy football. If you're still in it in fantasy football, this is a big time week. Saints also righted expectations for me because I thought even if they finish above 500 by one game, they were a one game above or one game below 500, I thought, with Jameis Winston. So even with him staying healthy, that's where I thought they would be.
Yeah.
I still maintain that if Sam Darnold would have went to the Steelers originally, like I thought he should have gone when he was leaving the Jets, that he could have been a good
I think he was already ruined. I think if he was drafted by them, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes there's no reverting the damage done to a quarterback. Yeah. Poor Sam Darnold, because the Jets will do that to you.
I picked the Saints.
Yeah.
Although I do think that Zach Wilson will have a better career than Sam Darnold.
See, I think he'll be worse. I think he'll be out of the league faster.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I say Zach Wilson will be great on Fox commentary in the next 6 years, where Sam Darnold will be a backup in the league like 12 years from now somehow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then who measures whose career is more successful from that, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
I would say Brady Quinn has a really successful career if you're not looking at him being an NFL quarterback.
Well, yeah, Brady Quinn's sister is married to AJ Hawk, so that's a great career.
There you go. See?
Because AJ Hawk is the man.
Lions Seahawks. This is actually the toilet bowl game of the week.
Oh God, you could pick so many this week.
This is the real one, though. This is the real. By the way, this solidified. You mark my words on this show. January 1st, 2022. Russell Wilson is not the quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks next year.
I think you're right.
This season marked it. He's done. I don't know if Pete Carroll's back next year either. But I know that I'm pretty sure Russell Wilson is not a Seahawk next year.
I don't think firing Pete keeps Russell because I think he still would know a rebuild's coming. But I think Pete's trying to keep his job because he's preaching we don't need to rebuild, we need to retool stuff right now. So it'll be interesting.
By the way, can we just all take a moment to just appreciate and feel just feel and appreciate and just accept and
Mhm.
celebrate even that the Seattle Seahawks fucking suck. And
Yeah,
Oh, I love it.
it's
Thank
been
you,
nice. It's
world.
been nice.
Thank you, world.
I on Thanksgiving Day, in front of my family, go, well, the Seahawks are trash. So, and one of my uncles got really upset.
Oh, were you like, oh, explain to me why they're good?
and he goes, hey, and I go, well, DK's good. Sure,
They're
I like
trash.
watching. I like watching DK.
Do you guys feel like that with the Seahawks being bad, the order has been somewhat restored to the universe? Like things are back prior to 2012, where
Yeah.
the Seahawks are just a bad turd team again. It's fun.
I'm neither here nor there about it, but they'll win this. They'll win this game. It's the Lions' backup quarterback in Seattle. That alone will win it for them. But yeah, I don't think it's a retool situation here. I don't think they're bouncing back in a year or two. So yeah, I think you're right as far as they're going to be bad for a couple seasons.
Russell Wilson is not going to be the quarterback next year.
I think I agree with that.
I asked a Seahawks fan, and he goes, I think they got one more year. That's what he said. So
that I wouldn't disagree with that either.
yeah.
I wouldn't either, but I just don't think with Russell Wilson was looking at. Look, dude. Russell Wilson was looking at maybe might leaving the Seattle Seahawks after last season. Now
Mhm.
they have 5 wins. He's not going to be on that team. There's no way.
No, they did not help their case for keeping him at all.
They did
No.
not.
No.
Woof.
Buzz's girlfriend.
Buzz's girlfriend.
I'm going Packers, but I don't give a shit about this game.
No Kirk Cousins, man. No Kirk Cousins.
Oh, he's not playing?
No, he's out.
What's
Who
the
do they
deal?
even got?
COVID?
I mean, do you have to ask?
COVID?
Yeah.
Who's starting for them? I don't even know who their backup is then.
Nope.
I
No
don't
idea.
either.
It
I can
doesn't
tell you, but I don't.
matter. It
Doesn't mean I'll know who it is.
Yeah.
And Monday night, Steelers Browns. Steelers.
Sean Mannion.
Don't know who that is.
Don't know who that is. I am taking the Steelers in this game because it's at home, but I do believe this is Big Ben's last home regular season game. I say for any team. He kind of makes it sound as if if you've seen interviews with him, Ben has talked about how this could very well be his last home game at Pittsburgh, home regular season. I don't know if he still holds out hope that some team would pick him up, but no goddamn team is picking up Big Ben Roethlisberger. This is his last home game of his career in Pittsburgh. Like, he's done. No team's picking him up. What team? I guess my question would be, what team is desperate enough to pick up a washed Big Ben who couldn't even go 500 on the season?
I mean, yeah. I watched a lot of Steelers games. I watched a lot of Steelers games, man, and his balls do not look good.
Gross.
The way him throwing the ball I mean,
even the completions, you're like, wow, he could have put that in a better spot.
Yeah,
I've seen that as well.
Exactly. And I've just been
no
like,
team's picking him up. No team's desperate enough to go with Big Ben.
Do you think it's a mental thing for him right now at this point then?
No, he's had a long career and he's gotten hit a lot.
You just think he's just old.
Watch his interviews too, I just think that I think he's afraid of not being an NFL quarterback. I think that's
interesting.
What's he going to do? I don't want to hear him commentate. I'll tell
he's
you
not
that right
going to
now.
commentate. Nobody wants him near the mic.
He's gonna drink a lot of Miller Lights is what he's gonna do.
I don't think he has. I think that's part of the problem is that he doesn't have an exit strategy for this. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants him on the mic. He's not that dynamic. I could see there was.
Yeah, but he should have plenty of money. He doesn't need to do anything.
No, I think last year when he was on the sidelines and he had the headset and stuff, I think a lot of people, including myself, were like, "Hey, this is kind of an okay look for him. Maybe throw him out there as a quarterback's coach or." I mean, the guy could call a no huddle. I mean, he could be an offensive coordinator eventually.
Yeah.
But I think he has no plan. I think that's what the deal is. He has no plan.
I took Pittsburgh in this game. I'm taking
Pittsburgh to win out the rest of their season.
The hard part about them is they seem to never win 2 games in a row. Win against Baltimore, lost against the Vikings, close game against the Vikings, by the way. They came back. Win against the Titans, lost against the Chiefs. They're due for a win. Browns, on the other hand, lost 3 straight, and they have already lost to Pittsburgh once this year. That's what really is the tiebreaker for me. Is it's not just the losing streak, because it goes back to their due, right? Like, they're not going to lose 4 in a row. That's what we think. But they've already lost this game.
Browns are having a tough go.
Yeah, man. Browns have underachieved more than any team in this division, more than the Ravens or more than the Steelers.
Not met expectations. Browns.
Not met.
However, Baker Mayfield has met expectations.
Yeah.
I mean, Baker played exactly like he's played the last 3 years.
Okay.
Just not a lot of development.
Nope.
He's just not a number 1 draft pick.
He tries to make plays happen that aren't there, and then it fucks him.
He is a number 1 draft pick in the sense, Derek, that a lot of them don't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, so he kind of is. But no, I like Pittsburgh in this game. They lose 1 game bad to the Chiefs, and now all of a sudden we forget that they were kind of putting the pieces together before that. That's what I don't get. I think the Steelers have actually are in a better place than the Browns. That's why I picked them. For this point in the year, I think they're in a better spot.
I'm picking the Browns. I think Pittsburgh is exactly where I thought they'd be.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
For me,
That's
it
not
is.
true. No,
For me, oh yeah.
You weren't saying they were going to be a 500 team. No. You said you were saying they were going to be
trash,
the
bro.
bottom. You were saying they were going to be the bottom of that division.
Not bottom. I thought.
Bottom. You were going.
Well, actually,
you were, because you were going Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers, bottom of the division.
Yeah, I think so. That's what I was feeling.
They have
and they can still win it.
What you were saying, and they can still win it.
They're 2 Bengals losses away and a win here.
But then that doesn't negate the divisional order that I put it in.
Fair. Well, no, but it does now because the Browns are.
Oh yeah.
lower.
Well, but I also said the Browns have under.
This loss puts the Browns at the bottom of the division for the year.
Yeah.
If they lose. And that's a good point, because it's going to be. They are the favorite on the road here, and Vegas knows a lot more than we do. But I'm just saying, like, looking just on paper, I feel like the Steelers are the better team right now at this moment. I think the Steelers have better. What you got? Nick Chubb, Johnson, Jarvis Landry, Higgins. What else? Donovan, but he hasn't had really that.
No,
Donovan hasn't shined since that week that you.
Yeah, it's just it's a huge lack of weapons, and at the end of the day, Pittsburgh can bank on just Deontay Johnson alone when they need to. Sometimes
I kind of needed the Steelers to do exactly what they did this year, though, because I don't want Ben back. I need them to kind of move. They need to do this. If they were 9-6 right now, we'd be talking about Ben being back next year as the Steelers quarterback.
Right.
And he needs to be done.
If they had 2 more wins than they have right now, he would not have said what he said this week about this being his final game in high school. He wouldn't have said it.
Right. And am I sad? I am sad to see him go. I mean, he's been the quarterback of this team since I graduated high school, since the year I graduated high school, or the year after I graduated high school. So he's been my quarterback since the beginning of my adulthood.
End of an era, hopefully.
End of an era, though. Yeah.
Hopefully, because he could change his mind.
They're not going to bring him back.
They're not going to let him change his mind.
They're the dumbest team that would let him come back, though.
Yeah, don't even say they wouldn't. Don't even,
because they would.
Don't put your eggs in that basket, man.
Because the Rooney family would go, let's go one more season.
Yeah, let's just do it again. We'll keep our coach forever, and we'll keep our quarterback forever.
We'll keep him until he doesn't want to play anymore.
And we'll still just cart him out onto the field.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wheel him out, and make him play.
I think they win. I think they win. This is a game that I could be wrong. This is kind of a divisive game for the week as well. So there's really only a couple. I think this game could divide some people. I think Cardinals, Dallas will maybe divide a couple of us. R.I.P. John Madden.
Yep. John Madden, man, what a legacy.
At least he got to watch his
Yeah, he got to see all of the stuff this year. They were doing the tribute, the 25 years or whatever it was, and
He also knows that he know. Could you imagine passing away? Like passing away knowing that your name is going to go on forever?
Yeah.
That's all anyone could really ask for, right? That's the bad guys in all the movies that are trying to, get whatever thing makes them live forever or do something forever. That's all they ever wanted. He got the thing most good or bad people want in any movie you've ever watched. So,
yep, him and Betty White. All right, everybody, we'll have a great
banging in heaven, I hope. Right?
just mashing parts.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show. I actually had a great time today.
I hope they keep their old people bodies, though, and they just have to mash them.
Yeah, I hope it's small Betty White and fucking giant John Madden. Fat Jabba the Hutt Madden.
Yeah, he's just eating a hoagie the whole time.
Yeah.
Or she is.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to the show, watching the show. Have a great new year. Happy 2022 to everybody. Go Warriors, go Wildcats.
Go Wildcats, go Warriors.